Don't go in there. They're having the let's try to figure out what customers want meeting again. It's gotten a little weird.
Signups are strong, but adoption of key features remains stagnant. What do you do?
We gotta merge that PR. Yeah, we have to. That's our only choice. Okay. We cast merge on the PR for the new dashboard. Oh no.
Your actions have caused the company to go viral for the wrong reason.
God.
Oh no, what do we do?
Roll for initiative.
No, I can't do that.
New features shouldn't be left to a roll of the dice. Use DevCycle to ship with low risk and instant rollbacks. Unrolls, re-rolls. How do we make this into a dice pun?
Hello there. Hi, Kate. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Parth?
I'm all right. You want to introduce the plan today and what we're talking about?
Yeah, I could do that. So today, the focus of the stream is we're gonna be going through just different types of targeting that's available in DevCycle, like a regular toggle on or off for a feature, but also kind of look at specific user targeting using targeting rules, custom user attributes, audiences, some self-targeting, and a lot of good stuff. So we'll kind of do a full run through of like how you can target different users in DevCycle. So excited to dive in.
Yes, let's exactly. To dive in, I'm just going to present my screen. Let me get into DevCycle first, and then I'll present my screen. But yeah, sorry, a little. I was like logged into another account because I was testing some stuff. So, all right, presenting screen. Let's do this. All right, that looks all right. I'll just make it like bigger whenever we want to. I'm just gonna create a new organization. So, what do you want to call this? Targeting demo.
Demo.
Yeah.
Targeting is good. I'm good with that.
Fair enough. The reason I'm creating a new org is because we can try to use our onboarding flow to kind of showcase how things are going, but it didn't put me into the onboarding flow. So I'm gonna fake go into the onboarding demo. And it's not putting me into onboarding. I've done this way too many times, I guess.
Yeah, it's rejection. Yeah.
All right. All right.
That's okay. We're like pivot. No, I'm kidding.
All right. I'm just gonna go to our labs repo. All right. So let's start off with using one of our example apps for this and kind of showing what type of targeting we allow. One of the best app that I love to use is the React app. And actually, I'm going to show how to get to these example apps from our docs as well, instead of just like putting in random URLs and kind of going through there. But yeah, if you're using if you go to our docs, there is, I think under SDKs, it should be there as well. But I know there's examples, and then you can just see all of the example apps that we have here. I'm going to click just React, and this goes to the JavaScript one. So let me see if...
Why are you selecting the React SDK?
Why? Because we're going to be showcasing kind of targeting on the front end, and I want to use like a client SDK that most people will be using. I think React is like one of those things where everybody just goes in and uses.
Yeah.
Wait, I swear we had a TypeScript React app.
Well, yeah. Wait.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Example TypeScript React. Okay. I'm going to use this. And you know what? We're going to automatically create the feature in our project. There you go. This is where I wanted to go to.
There you go.
All right. This is the onboarding that everybody kind of gets when they're first getting on the DevCycle dashboard. Sorry. We're going to go with, I have an example app, and then React plus TypeScript. And you know what? Let's just use this command to create an example app. Let me know if you can read my terminal.
It's a tad small, but that's okay.
All right, made it a little bigger. Hopefully it's easier to read. Okay. Yeah, let's just go with it. We'll create the app. Sorry, my throat has been giving me some problems. So, but yeah, I think this, we don't need to talk too much about our example React application, or sorry, the create command. The npx create command is actually really nice. That allows us to like kind of just use everything, or just create the React app, gives us the SDK key here, and then just starts the app. So as soon as it started, we have the start demo button. Sorry. And will allow us to start the demo. Wait, what's happening? All right, I'm not gonna change too many things. Okay. Kind of right off the bat, we're brought up to this great like our feature form is what we call it internally, but is basically our details of a feature. Do you want to explain the variations in variables, Kate?
Yeah, for sure. So
actually, I think we missed one part.
Okay.
Kate, do you want to introduce yourself since it's your first time being on the stream with me?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm excited to
just
be
go with that.
included in this stream. I've done a couple streams with our old DevRel kind of expert, Andrew, but this is my first kind of stream with Parth. It's a little more technical. But yeah, I am, for context, I'm a product manager here at DevCycle, so I'm excited to talk about targeting today. I know our team's done a lot of work on like building some of these features, so it'll be kind of cool going through it with you as like in a stream context versus just like product scoping and demos internally. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. But yeah, so the feature form, basically the variation and variables table. A little bit of context on like what variables and variations are within DevCycle. So often in a lot of other platforms, feature flags are just a simple on and off Boolean flag. But in DevCycle, we kind of opened it up and kind of broadened the spectrum of like what a feature could be. And so features and variables are a little bit different than that. So features are basically a group of variables or flags that can be bundled together and represent like a larger overarching feature. And then variations are different variable values collected together to create a variation. So there may be times where you don't want a feature just to have control all of its logic in one simple Boolean flag, but actually have multiple components for the feature. So in our case, in this example right here, for that screen that you see on the left, we have 3 different variables that make up the speed at which I think it's moving around, and then the string that actually the kind of text says as well, and if the togglebot is winking. So we have 3 variables that control 3 different components, and then from there, you can create different variations based off of those 3 variables. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in like how you want to build your feature and doesn't like lock you in to like a single flag, if that gives like a quick high level summary.
Yeah, I think that was a great summary.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going with the demo.
Cool.
Yeah. So first step, in DevCycle, we refer to features as variables, feature flags as variables. We combine multiple variables within a feature, as Kate already mentioned. Gonna press next, and then this is the targeting rule. Targeting rules allow you to define a set of users to receive a given variation. This is kind of very similar to, or this is exactly from our feature form page as well. So going next. So try updating the example app by toggling a variation that is being served from base to spin. So let's do that. Spin. All right. Yep, there you go. We have real-time updates still working. That's nice. There's like a little part of me that always goes like, okay, it'll work. Just need to see how long it takes. But yeah.
No, feels good. It's still scary when you do it live.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does work, everybody. It does work.
Yep. This is live. I haven't done anything. All right. Going next to. All right. What's next? Try adding another variation with your own name and unique combo of toggle link. So I'm just going to add, and then call it example, fast step 3, and then false. So let's go next, and then let's toggle the new variation. And any moment now, we'll see it. There you go. It's super fast now, and now we can finish. So that's our kind of demo app, example app. I want to kind of take a little bit of a deep dive, or a little bit of a dive into the code that is running this. So let's do that first before we kind of talk more about where things are. So DevCycle, React, TypeScript. Where did this create it? Sorry. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. And then there we have it. I'll make it bigger so that everybody can see. All right. Main things to kind of take a look at. The example app, what it's doing is it's using the DevCycle React client SDK, and there are a bunch of things already kind of put in place. So there's the environment variable of your SDK key, and we are essentially wrapping. We're showing the demo application once DevCycle is ready. So this use is DevCycle client initialized is a hook that gives you true when your DevCycle client is ready. But we're essentially wrapping this whole app with a provider, which is the DevCycle provider, and you pass in the SDK key. This is going to be kind of important today. We're going to be talking about targeting. So user ID, all of this will be important. And then we have the options. I think that's mainly what sets the DevCycle client up. Very simple. If I go into any of these actual components, you can see that all we're doing here is getting a variable value. The way our DevCycle SDK works is that you can call the use variable value hook. It will need to take in a default value along with the variable key, and it automatically changes value when things are updated. So when a new config is fetched and there is to use. Kind of very simple way of using the whole SDK here. We're using all features, but it's only to figure out what the variation name is so that we can show it at the bottom here. But yeah, that's kind of very base SDK setup. What should we first get into, Kate?
Let's see. What are we gonna start with? I think maybe just we can go through setting up just a base target, maybe how targeting works. I think it's a little bit different than a lot of other platforms where targeting is all built in. Well, not built in, but we have all different environments built into the targeting for each feature, which is kind of a call out there to begin with. So you can see on the left hand side for this example feature, the 3 environments that we set up in our project in DevCycle kind of appear on the left. So this allows you to not have to reproduce or recreate that feature in each environment. It's all controlled through targeting, which is super handy. So that's one thing I'd like to call out.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's a great call out.
Thanks. But yeah, that's like, I guess, like turning the targeting on an entire environment. And then from there, if it's on, you basically have to create a targeting role. So maybe let's walk through kind of
So
like
what happens if I have it off? What would the users get if this is off?
the default value.
So, okay, exactly. So that's why we have the default value. Essentially, if a feature is turned off, then it's not part of the config that is sent to the client. So the client doesn't know this feature exists. So it will end up taking the default value instead of taking a variation. Just one thing. I'm just going to turn on, npm run start. Just want to make sure the app is still running. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yes. First thing we said we were going to let's try using the staging environment. Let's work as if we're in. Let's assume staging is our production, and let's use that as our thing. So at this moment, we need to get our SDK key. So yeah, and we have code samples as part of our feature form, which allows you to get SDK keys for variables and also see sample like kind of code. I'm just gonna copy this key and then update the .env file with the new key, and then save it. And then we'll need to restart this, and then we will have nothing because it's not on. All right, so let's turn it on. First steps, we want to turn on targeting for an environment. We saw it works in dev. We're going to go into staging. We're going to turn it on, but we can't really just turn it on. We need to actually say what we need to give the user, or how to have targeting set up for this. So I think everybody's favorite, just all users targeting rule. I'm just going to go all users and then serve the base spin or example variation. Let's go with spin for everybody. And then we can just kind of see if spin variation shows up here. And then we can kind of go more depth into how we can do different, like, or more granular targeting. So yeah, we have spin variation working in staging environment. And yeah, let's go. Any comments, Kate, or do you want to move to granular targeting?
No, that's good. Yeah, basically you can name a targeting role whatever you want. All users, I think, is some of the feature, or depending on when you're in actually DevCycle and not the onboarding flow, depending on what feature type you choose, I think some names are pre-populated. But yeah, that's the easiest way to deliver like one certain variation to like everybody in your user base. So great starting point. Great starting point.
Yeah. So now we have a base variation that everybody's going to get, which is going to be spin. Now let's change things up and actually do a user targeting. So how do we make sure that only a specific user gets a certain targeting? And for that, I'm going to add another rule. I'm going to call this only parth. And then let's add a definition of user ID is parth. And I'm going to give it an example and then save it. Now, there's some things wrong with this, and that's why I did it this way, just so that we can talk about what is wrong and why it's wrong. So added a new targeting rule, called it parth with the example kind of what do you call variation. I'm gonna go and change the app now to instead of user 123, call it parth as the user. And you know what? Let's just do all of that. Now, what should I be expecting here, Kate? Because I made a targeting rule for parth, I should be expecting parth to be getting a certain targeting, correct?
Incorrect, because of our rule kind of hierarchy or like ordering. I forget what you call it. I guess it's like the waterfall kind of evaluation method. So basically how our targeting rules work is every user will be evaluated against the first rule first. So if they qualify for that rule, the definition matches whatever we put there. So in our case, it's all users.
Yep.
We're serving them a spin variation. So everyone who qualifies that rule won't move down and get passed and evaluated against the next. So parth is going to be stuck in the all users rule and be receiving the spin variation still. And so
Exactly.
basically the rule that Parse just created is rendered invalid or like just kind of useless.
Because
But
it will never get evaluated, right?
yeah, correct.
All right.
But if you use to move that rule right on up to
Yeah.
be the first one, we should see a
Save
change.
it. And yep, we have saved it. We'll get the change on
Yep.
here, and there you go.
go.
Perfect. So that's kind of one of the biggest things that I've seen a lot of people like kind of fall into is like
Yeah.
adding a rule and then not seeing the value actually propagate on the dashboard or for a user. But yeah, that's kind of the easiest way to target a user. What are other things we could do, Kate, to target users? What if, like, let's say we want to add multiple definitions of targeting, like instead of just user ID.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on what type of rule you want to create. So if you wanted to target like user ID as Parth and Kate, like that input field, you can put multiple values in there. You can copy and paste, I think, up to I'm like
I think
5,000, 500.
At least 500.
Yeah, at least 500. It gets a little like I think you can open up another window. It gets a little crazy, but you can paste as many if you in user IDs or like values in there as you want. But we also have other ways to like define and choose like different filters other than just user ID.
Yeah.
And also like if you want to add another filter, drive down to like have more specificity in your definition, you can also do that. So for if we wanted to target user IDs, Kate and Parth, but also have a certain like app version or something or platform version, you can also do that. If you wanted to target like a particular group of users, there's also so many ways you can do that as well.
Okay, let's go step by step. Let's do just platform version. Actually, I don't know what the platform version this will be getting. I think it will be getting my Node version. To make things easier, we'll just do country.
Yeah. Because are we defining that? I guess it's not off the like you think you have to put that in code, correct?
Sorry?
Or you have to put that like kind of you have to identify a user or like at least assign
in the country?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I can add the country as part of the user. Yeah, I don't think it auto adds for sure.
No.
You
have to do it in code. But once you do it, you can set it and forget it.
Canada here and then save this. And then I'll just add country CA. I don't need all of this.
What were the suggested values there?
They're very okay. So there's age, there's gender. Age is wrong, gender is wrong. Interest, music, sports, reading.
Okay.
2 out of 3, 60%. We'll be happy with that. Location is correct for I think it knows where I'm accessing from.
Yeah.
Bachelor's degree and I'm a software engineer.
That's true.
That is true, exactly.
So wait, what suggested that for you?
This is all through Cursor.
Cursor,
Yeah, it's just like auto suggestions.
That's so funny. Wait, how did they get populated? Like, how did they guess that?
I don't know. I think this is like you didn't use it enough that they're like, oh, this guy has to be a software engineer.
Yeah, he must be well read. He must.
Yeah, sure.
He must read a book a week.
Yeah. All right. I don't read a book a week. I don't think. Maybe even like a year. I don't finish a book. I start books, but I don't finish them.
No, I know. Anyways, I know that you don't. I know how that is because I'm the same.
All right, so we're getting proper targeting. Now, like, let's imagine this is just for Canada. How would we do this for multiple countries? And if we have multiple countries, this would get kind of like a lot of things would be happening here, right? Like, let's say, let's do Canadians, but non-Canadians. I'm just gonna add like a random. I'm just gonna add that, and then just say give it the base variation.
So I guess to target non-Canadians, we do country is not.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things to use here. There are is not, like different types of filters you can use. We're gonna do is not Canada, and then just save it. But that means we will have to change. Yeah, well, we can change it in here to be I don't know, US, and then yeah, we're getting the base variation now. Now, what I was trying to get to is multiple things that you have in one, multiple targeting rules that you have in one place. What if you want to have like let's say Canadians, all of the Canadians, you're going to target them a specific way? How would you kind of set that up, and kind of going into that with essentially multiple features using a same or similar targeting?
I can see where you're getting at, Parth. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a few things that, yeah, depending, especially when you're saying like if we wanted to target another country the same way, the one thing about our targeting rules is when you define a targeting rule, we're just using ands and not ors or and ors. So if you wanted to target, say, both like Canada and the US, or all of North America as like a certain variation, what we'd recommend to do, because you wouldn't have like country is Canada and country is North America. That just doesn't work. It'd be like Canada or the US or Mexico. So how you do that is probably the best way, instead of setting up multiple different targeting rules for each.
Quick question for that. You said that we're using ands in our.
Oh wait, my bad. You can just
on
put it in
these?
the field. No.
But if you want ors, you would put it in the field, because
Yeah.
this wouldn't mean that Parth and Kate needs to be there already. It's Parth or Kate, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So you put
you
it in
would
the field.
yeah, you can put it in the field to get an or effect, right?
Yeah. But so that would be if you would just want to like use the inputs as like Canada, US, Mexico.
Yeah.
But if you're always going to target like a group or like a region, I guess, like one way you could do that is through an audience. As a reusable audience for like maybe North America, you could do that instead of creating like country is and put those 3 inputs. What you can do is like, yeah, Parth, if you toggle over to the audience tab,
Yeah.
we could create a new audience, and basically what it is a saved set of targeting rules, or a saved targeting rule definition, which comes in super handy if like you're always going to be reusing these things and the similar targeting rules. So yeah, when you define it, basically mimics exactly what you see on the feature form. So if we wanted to create that, Parth Kate.
And then country, Canada, and then United States, and Mexico. And we could also have or, like different targeting in here as well. So like you can make this as complex as you want. Which
Those top level ors are really handy, because I think there's a lot of clients who use DevCycle who wanted those ors inside the targeting rule, but honestly, it makes more sense to kind of bring them out, just to kind of remove the complexity from the actual feature form itself, and you can create those more granular kind of like reusable audiences here, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna save this and then show how this can be used in a feature on our page. So this whole thing we did, we're gonna actually just delete this rule and then create a new rule. I'm gonna delete this again. So let's say North American users, add it as a audience, and then North American users. Now, if I'm going to serve them the example variation, I need to first put them above all users to make sure they don't get caught in that. Save it. One other thing you can do is like kind of open it here and then get a read-only view of what's happening, so you can see, hey, this is what it's set to. You can't really change it from here. You have to go to the audience page to change it, and that's just to make sure that when you're changing something that is used across features, you're not changing it from one place. You're going it to where it should be, and then seeing exactly where it's being used. So what I mean by that is, like, if I open the audience page, it will it has like usages on the feature, so you can kind of see, like, if I want to go here and be like, oh, I need to remove Kate from this, I will know that I'm removing Kate from all of these features, which is maybe something I don't want. So that that's where other types of targeting would be useful. Yeah, I think that's a great kind of handy way of adding complex targeting to your targeting rule, keeping your feature form like easier to kind of look at as well.
Yeah, and if you always have like a set of like QA users or like internal users, like stakeholders, like you want all of the managers to see like and just preview like a certain variation that's going to go live eventually, it's really easy way to just manage QA audiences and beta testers, which we do internally. So that's how we segment things to certain organizations and all that kind of good stuff. So we find it kind of useful just internally here, but a lot of our clients do as well for those types of audiences too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, okay. We have this going for us, but let me go back to and CA. I'm gonna save this, and then okay, we're getting the example now. All right. So what is next thing we can talk about? What are different? What are other ways of targeting now? Like, let's say we've done audiences, we've done like very granular users, we have done like, what is something where maybe you don't care about what user they are and you just want to like kind of, another thing you can use feature flags for is also experimentation. So it's like, how could you kind of achieve that here?
Like set up an experiment using it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, in this case, like in our examples we kind of walked through just earlier right now, we're just surveying everyone like a certain particular like individual variation. But in that dropdown for serve, when you're creating your targeting rule, there's also an option for a random distribution, which basically is turning your targeting rule or your feature into an experiment with the 3 different variations that we set up earlier in our demo, which was like base variation, spin, and example. So depending on how many variations you have set up, it'll be like it pre-populates all those percentages. It's an even split across all 3 or how many you have. But you can go in and like edit like the percentages if you want like your base variation to get like 80% and spin an example 10 and 10. It just has to equal up to 100 basically. But yeah, all that is customizable. And then yeah, you can save that targeting rule and immediately deliver, like start running your experiment if you wish, which is pretty neat. So no extra coding or like work needed to turn a feature into an experiment, which is pretty neat and super handy because I feel like a lot of other platforms and even in our legacy platform, like it wasn't as easy to create an experiment versus a feature flag, but we find like you don't necessarily want to create a feature in dev as an experiment from the get-go. So this allows you to like test the feature as a feature in all of like non-prod or pre-prod like staging or pre-prod environments. And then when it comes to production, you can set up like a targeting rule that is your true experiment, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. So now, like, as you see, I've been bucketed into the base variation. And this will keep me in the base variation no matter how many times I restart the app. And I'm just going to make sure. Yeah, it still keeps me in the base variation. I can try it like a couple more times, but I think it will always be the same. And this is to kind of make sure that users are getting a very, like, they're getting the same, they're bucketed into the right, like, kind of variation through making sure that you can actually use the experiment to the best of the kind of use cases, because you want to make sure that if you're targeting somebody in base and if you're collecting data on that, then you don't want them to come in again and get targeted to spin variation, because that will just kind of defeat the purpose of like running an experiment in that way. You want like some sort of sticky bucketing, and kind of keeping that alive. But what are, like, I know there are some use cases where this may not be what you want to show users. Kate, do you want to talk about some of them and like why, like, we have this field here that says randomized using and kind of shows us all of the things here?
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of like 2 things here. So the randomized using, basically because we haven't defined any like other, I guess we have a few, we don't have any customer user properties right now, but
let's have some.
Let's add some right now, and then we
Yeah.
can kind of walk through the
Mhm.
use case. Maybe like what we use internally too for our custom properties
Yeah.
or custom user
Yeah,
attributes.
do that.
So like for every user that we have like an org ID associated with a user. So this is the organization ID for their organization in DevCycle. And so we have this property internally. So when we want to roll out a net new feature or even run an experiment for like seeing if a particular feature will impact like a certain new feature that we have, or someone use it, if we like roll out a certain feature, we want to roll it out by org by org. The randomize using kind of field here in the targeting role definition is how we'd achieve that. So if I just keep it as randomize using user ID, basically how this targeting role would work is it would randomize or basically bucket you based off of your user ID, but not necessarily what organization you're in. So in that scenario, you might have a bunch of people in like, let's say like our Netlify team, one of our clients. Some people may have this like base variation being served to them or the spin variation because depending, it's just all bucketed randomly on their user ID, but not necessarily their organization. So if we were to select randomize using their org ID, it would roll out the feature or experiment org by org. So that means we would
Just one
everyone.
second. I'm going to keep this here.
Yeah.
I'm going to add custom data and then do org ID as DevCycle and then just save it. Okay.
Wait, you gotta put is it G or D, my guy?
Sorry?
Is it or? I think you put or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
All right. So
Okay.
I'm still getting bucketed into base variation as
Yeah.
I would with my user ID.
Perfect. And then if we were to do it with org ID, basically like, I don't know. Wait, what did you change?
I did change as like, or I made it so that I would come into this
Okay.
thing, but there's a problem because we're using org ID as a targeting thing. So I'm going to remove it from here.
Yeah.
And let's change the numbers a little bit. Let's make like 80 on spin.
Okay, let's
And
see.
then save it.
Roll the dice. See if we
Roll
get
the dice. All right.
Oh,
okay.
There you go.
It worked. Okay. So
Probability.
now let's try to change the org ID and see what happens. We're still in spin variation. What if we change it to 2? I don't think it like I don't want to go through every single possibility now. I feel bad for keeping it as the 80-10-10 split. Okay. Fine. I guess we've committed enough to this to go through the whole thing. Or do it until we get a different ID. All right.
It's like we're trying to find the secret rare, the Labubu's. Do you know like blind boxes?
Sorry?
Do you know like, well, I guess it's kind of like blind boxes, like Pokemon cards. We're trying to like the rare.
The rarity.
Okay. But this is normal because like this is the true like representation of random distribution. Like you can't game it.
Yeah. Fair.
So anyways, but basically like every like org or every individual org ID, like every user within that org ID will get the same variation ultimately with randomized using. So we have people who also have a similar type of format other than like not just org ID, which we use internally. Like we have accounts or like entire what's an example? I think we have account IDs. I'm like, let me check my account. Let's see what people are randomized using right now. But it does like vary, and it was like really nice to see because randomly we have a lot of B2B clients using.
Yeah.
DevCycle.
Oh, okay. I kind of found it. So, or I changed the targeting, but if I do just DevCycle, then I will get the base variation. But if I do DevCycle-12, because that's the number we were on, and if I save it, we'll get the spin variation. So, kind of whatever my user ID is here does not matter. But it like it's what my org ID is that matters. And then yeah, that's kind of a good example of like how randomizing using something very sticky to the what do you call it? To the user would work. I have a question now. I saw okay. One thing that our SDK allows you to do is custom data and then also private custom data.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Yes.
Private custom data.
So custom data and private custom data is the private custom data is supposed to be all of the data that you want to use for bucketing, but you don't want to share with DevCycle in the sense that like you don't want to give us the data for the user. So I'm gonna create like a private field and then just I don't know, like private field. What's a private field? Sorry, let me.
Like example, like card number.
Yeah, card number.
Card, like just like your credit card.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. We got a card number, and for some reason you want to target all of the users. Wait, I know. I'll start with the 4. So this becomes a Visa card. And for some reason, you want to target everybody that is using the.
Wait, that was a bad example because everyone has a unique card number. I'm trying to think of an example of like.
That's why I said like a Visa card, because Visa card starts with a 4.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I would do. First, we need to add the property of card number. I'll change it later in the thing. It's a string. Add property. Sorry, card dash number.
Yeah, but like again, this stuff is like, this is super useful. We have like a few. The reason why my brain went straight to like financial services and like card and private information about like your banking is we have some FinServ clients who definitely use private custom data. Because we'll just use that data temporarily to evaluate the actual targeting role and determine what flag value that we should be serving that person, and then discard it basically when we don't need it anymore. So we never log or store this custom data. So you have complete control over all that stuff on your end. But yeah, it's like for a lot of our clients who have certain data compliance rules, this is all super helpful. And just gives you more flexibility in kind of what you actually want to pass to DevCycle.
Yeah, I think did I do something wrong? Oh,
Begins with what is it?
I think I did something wrong. I'm gonna go into custom properties, and yeah, the property key it has a space in it. So property key should be. I'm just gonna make it card underscore number.
Wait, it's different than the DevCycle key though.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna make everything card underscore number because that's how I'm using it in the back end.
Nice.
Or in this end. Okay, so card number has been deleted because we updated it to be card underscore number. That's why it's just saying deleted. But I'm gonna do the same thing. Starts with 4. Save it. And then hopefully that works. Oh wait. Okay.
There you go.
All right, we got it. We got it to work. Card underscore number starting with 4. So all the Visa cards will get a specific thing. But this data is never stored on DevCycle. It's just used for the bucketing reasons and not otherwise. I think Kate already mentioned that though.
But it's worth mentioning again. So
yeah. All right. So on DevCycle, one thing is that they both show up as a custom property here that you can use, but it depends on you as a user to put it as a private custom data or custom data, and send that value to us in like either way. That just makes it easier for you. You can actually just make that like org ID to be like private custom data if you don't want DevCycle to know who your orgs are. Like, I don't know, like if you care about that.
And your secret items you can put
Yeah.
in private custom data.
All right. So there's that.
What else
Uh,
you can?
what
I
are
think
we-
we should go through. There's one thing that's not in these environment targeting kind of
Mhm.
rule sections, and that's self-targeting.
Yep.
Feature near and dear to my heart, which I feel like people actually, there's some power users of self-targeting, and we can go through that. So like I know we were talking about like QA user groups as audiences, but sometimes you don't want to fool around or mess with anything that's in production development staging. You don't want to create a targeting rule because like sometimes your team members have set those up and you don't want to finagle and fool around and like put one of those like targeting rules to just target yourself to the top of the list.
There can also be times when you don't want to just add a target. You don't have access to adding targeting rules in production,
Yes.
right?
Correct. When you have those permissions enabled,
Yes.
people lock down your project
Yeah.
and your hands are tied
Yep.
and you're just a viewer or member in your project and you still want to like preview a certain variation that your team's going to launch, but you yourself don't have access to it. You can
Mhm.
leverage self-targeting.
Yes,
for good.
exactly. There's
Um,
also approval workflow. Like if you like,
Yes.
people have approval workflows turned on, and if you don't want to wait for an approval but just want to see what your user would be getting,
Yeah.
you can set your user ID. Sorry, self-targeting is just above the targeting section.
Yeah. So its own
Um,
little thing, own little
Yeah,
area.
and then you can turn it on, or you can slide it in. Ask for or put your user ID. This user ID kind of stays attached to your user for the project. So this is kind of you saying, "Hey, this is my user ID for everything in this project, or all of the apps that are running using this project." So yeah, add your user ID, and then we're on staging right now. So I'm getting example variation. I'm gonna change it to base variation.
Basically,
Save it.
yeah, what this does, it'll override, even if you qualify for an existing targeting rule in this particular environment, but depending on what you serve yourself here in the self-targeting, it'll override it. And you should receive the
Okay, I do have power here, and we are in staging, and it did say that. Okay, yikes! All right, I'm just gonna.
Don't say yikes. Don't say yikes.
I'm not saying it. Okay, I'm gonna refresh this page. Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
I
I
know what
think
the problem was.
there's something funky going on with our self-targeting, like the real-time update. You can yeah,
It's
explain
either
it.
that or like it's something to do with ad block. I don't know which one it is, but
Okay.
there might be something of real time. Oh, I know what it was. It's because I was never added as a soft targeting user before uploading the page. So like DevCycle didn't know that I was a self targeting user. But now that DevCycle knows I'm a self targeting user, I'm gonna test this. See if my theory checks out.
Oh,
It does check out.
perfect.
Let's go. All right. So the only reason it didn't work was because DevCycle didn't know that I was a self-targeting user, so I should get the new self-targeting changes. When self-targeting changes are made, you don't want to broadcast those changes to everybody, and that's what you want. Like you don't want a random user or your 50,000 users to get this change or get a notification that this got changed. You only want to send it to the people that are self-targeting users. And now I can go here and change whatever variation I want, and it will show up as such.
Yes, perfect. Okay. But yeah, that's a big consideration that you did when building this feature. Like I think we were talking about like how to make it feasible and like not have any chance of impacting production users. So even if you do on the first kind of set of when you set your initial user ID or DevCycle entity, you have to do that. It just allows for this entire kind of like feature to function better.
Yeah, but like now, anytime you come back to your app, assuming this is your app, you don't need to refresh the page. You just DevCycle knows that you are if you are using the same user ID here as the one that is in the user object, then you kind of are good to go.
Yeah. So you do that initially, just heads up. But it's cool because you can also see if there's other team members that our targeting. It's good for like even QAing to see if like you have an override or someone else has an override and they're seeing something else. But yeah, if I was in this org and I was targeting using self-targeting, I'd pop up here. You'd see the user ID of mine, the value that I'm serving myself, and all that kind of good stuff, which is neat. And if you want to see all the existing overrides that you have, you can click on that and it'll take you to your DevCycle identity kind of section and part of your profile. And you can clear all of them if you want to start fresh. But yeah, it's a cool feature. There are definitely like improvements that we want to make on it. I think there's a lot of QA users that have multiple identities or like certain custom user IDs that or custom attributes and like metadata associated with like a particular user that they want to mimic. So I think an extension on the self-targeting feature that we want to probably look at in the future is definitely like having multiple self-targeting identities. DevCycle identities, which is pretty neat. But yeah, I'm like, let us know. Chat.
I can think of like a great way for us that we could use this as well after we have it. Because currently all of our test users like are automated testing. All the users are, we need to like set their thing up. But we can always like use something like this where we can set it in, but self-targeting also that just means it's tied to one account. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all that fun stuff. Yeah, I think those are, is that all?
I feel like that's all that we thought we were going to go through today. I feel like in targeting, I think of like anything else that's like relevant for targeting. I think we can save it for another
definitely
like stream, but you see that little like floating toggle bot on our screen. That's like because we've set it up in like our own DevCycle kind of environment, or not environment, but like internally. This is another way, a cool way, and we'll go into it in another stream probably, but it's kind of another way to self-target and throw yourself into variations too if you don't want to kind of deal with the dashboard all the time to do that.
Yes, that kind of gives you the ability to do things without changing the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't necessarily have time to go into the web debugger. I think web debugger probably needs like its own little stream where we talk about like all of the different things that we have, like our VS Code extension, our web debugger, and our CLI, and like it kind of are more than just our dashboard tools. And then kind of that could be a nice stream.
Yeah, we maybe try to do everything and not touch the dashboard once. That would be kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that's
like you never
cool.
touch the dashboard like fully. That'd be a good stream idea. I'm like, chat, let us know. Let us know.
Let us know.
I'm like, if anyone is watching.
I'm gonna stop streaming.
Okay.
Stop streaming my.
I was like,
sorry. But join our Discord if you have any other questions, or if you have any kind of ideas for us to tackle on stream. Maybe we'll see more of Kate in coming streams.
Let us know.
Yeah, maybe Kobe will be back soon. He's out. I know everybody misses Kobe, so he'll be back soon.
Okay, where are you also seeing? Where are people? Is there any chat? This
you should see chat on the right hand side of your screen stream.
So there was none
comments.
Or maybe I didn't log in, but
no, I didn't see any messages. But yeah.
Next time, maybe it's Kobe. I would to pretend that Kobe's coming to the stream and then I pop up. Maybe they'll be
yeah, we could do that. We could do a little switcheroo.
Switcheroo on the people. Okay. Well, this was fun, Parth. Thanks for inviting me.
For joining. Yeah. It was great having you here, and thanks everybody. You can watch the video recap of this on YouTube on our DevCycle channel. So, and yeah, join Discord, do all the fun stuff, and see you later.
Bye.